But if you just want your stuff to sound competitively better overall, I would recommend stopping here at level 2. Leveling in the channel rack plus the soft clipper is pretty much all you'll ever need to know, besides a little bit of equalization, which we will cover in level 2 right now. So I tend to get a question about once or twice a day, and it goes something like this. Hey Chu, is just leveling enough, or should I master the entire beat? Should I add a soft clipper? Should I go the full mile and do signal flow and mastering? And my answer is always something like, well, it depends on what you actually want out of your production, and it also depends on how much you actually care. So I'm making this video for 2 reasons. For one, so that I can always link people to this video from now on whenever they ask that question. It'll be a good answer. And for 2, so that I can show you the various levels of caring about mixing, so you can make a better informed decision about where you want to stop based on what you want out of your production. So let's get into that. So here's the demo beat we're going to be working with today. It is unmixed. All I did was grab a loop from my Discord, program some drums. I didn't even level them. This is no level. This is just, I don't care. I'm going to export it as is, let the engineer do it. I don't really care. So that's that. Level 0 is just, I want my stuff to sound better, but I don't really give a damn about mixing at all. So for that person, if you're at that level, here's what I would suggest. Don't do anything, but at least put a soft clipper on your master. I have a blog post down in the description below that you can check out that will teach you how to build a really cool chain. So check that out if you want like a louder, polished sound on your beats overall. But I'm going to be using a soft clipper called TR5 via a preset that I have saved right here. So I'm going to open that up. We'll turn off the master effects and give it another listen. And then we'll turn on the master effects right now. So moving right along to level 1, this is where you care enough about mixing to see what the bare minimum can do to make your beat sound better. So the first thing I'll do when I'm doing this is I'll turn off every instrument, and I'll just do that by soloing the 808, and I'll start right with my 808 because I like my low end to be the loudest thing in the mix. And traditionally that's what you'll hear in hip hop, R&B, and pop music. And then moving right along with that, next thing is the kick. And I just have that be a little bit louder. We're more so listening than looking for actual levels, but you can kind of see it peaking. So I think that's pretty solid, honestly. That's pretty solid, honestly. So then I'll move along to my main snare, which will be the next loudest thing, but less loud than my kick and my 808. And I actually layered that with a clap, so I have to consider that as well. Cool. And then we'll bring in the accent snare next, which will be less loud than our main snare, but still pretty loud. And then other perks, same kind of concept, treat them like accent snares almost. And so the hats will be the least loud thing that is not the melody. Again, I'm just listening more so, trying to feel it out, not really looking at anything. And then last is the melody. And I like to level my melody in starting it off so I can really listen to see where it fits in. Leveling in the channel rack plus the soft clipper is pretty much all you'll ever need to know, besides a little bit of equalization, which we will cover in level 2 right now. So at level 2, we have basic mixing in the mixer. That gives us a greater ability, again, to control the way our instruments fit together. So we'll just route everything to the mixer. We'll just start with everything off, and I'll look at my 808 and kind of look. I still probably want that a little bit quieter now that I can have a little bit more gain control, and because I know where I'm going to end up right around. Again, I'm not really using actual numbers. I'm kind of just looking, but then also listening and seeing where I want to anchor it, because knowing where your anchor is kind of important, right? That kick can be a little bit louder, maybe around like 13.5. And then our main snares and claps, same concept of relativity. We want that to be less loud than the low end, but still very present. Accent snare. And then our hats, the most quiet percussive element. And then our melody, which again, I like to level from off just so I can see really where it fits and where we can tuck it in. So the only other meaningful recommendations that I could make to you at this level that wouldn't make you a tryhard is just to do a couple of pretty standard things, like putting an equalizer to take out some low end frequencies on your melody, and that'll just give your 808 more room to hit. It'll give your kick drum more room to hit, and you can tame some high end artifacts as well doing that same thing. And we've all seen the sweeping technique where you can listen to frequencies and see what you want to attenuate or boost. Attenuate just means to cut frequencies that seem harsh to you, or boost them if you don't want to. But if you're working with pretty talented sample makers, or a sample maker that at least knows what they're doing, you usually don't have to do too much to the sample. Only other thing is maybe a little bit of width with delay, and I like to do that with just a widened preset on Fruity Delay 2. And if you're feeling a little fancy, which I do recommend most of the time, just some reverb. I really like the Cathedral preset here on Fruity Reverb 2. And that already has the melody sounding more lush and more tucked into the overall mix than it was before. So this is really where you can stop if you want your beats to just sound good on, like, in your beat store on YouTube, like if you're doing type beats and stuff like that. Now, if you're trying to make your stuff sound as good as possible, like on DSPs, like if you release type beats, or if you just want to have like a really nice polished mastered finish to your beats, go that extra try hard mile, then I would recommend level 3. But if you just want your stuff to sound competitively better overall, I would recommend stopping here at level 2. So level 3 is definitely for tryhards, or if you just are like an engineer, this is probably something you'll just do. So the actual concept of signal flow covers things like buses and sends. If you want to know more about that, I have a full guide down below. Right now, I'm just going to do a speed run of all of that stuff. I'm actually going to start with the drums instead. I'm going to route all of them to one track. I'm going to turn that track on. I'm going to turn on a preset here, which is a reverb send for my drums, just to give them a little bit more width and body. And then I'm going to open up my drum bus, and that's just going to give it a little bit more compression, which is going to make those drums knock a little bit louder. Nice, nice, nice. And then I'm going to turn this on. My melody's already routed correctly. So then I'm going to turn on a convolver preset, and this is going to add a sort of like reverb effect to my melody, basically. Make it sound a little bit more wide and spacious in the stereo. We can taper that a little bit. And then we can open up our melody preset. Very nice. And just for some fun, we can do some parallel compression on our 808 to give it a little bit of stereo and make it sound nice and wide in the mix. Yeah, that's dope. So level 3 if you are a tryhard. Now, I didn't explain that very well, but I want to say honestly, it's not a very difficult thing. And if you can, let me put it like this: if you know how to wire your speakers to your laptop, then signal flow is not difficult. If you are scared of it, it's a very simple thing, and it will definitely make your beats sound way better from a competitive point of view, but just to you if you actually want your stuff to sound better. So level 3 is if you care about mixing, you want your beats to sound better, but then you're also a tryhard. This is as much as I know so far. I hope my knowledge has been beneficial to you. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Check out this mixing guide appearing on the screen now if you want more help with mixing. I'll see you soon. Peace.